Hello everyone, good morning and welcome back. So for this little adventure I have jumped on a plane from England to the continent of Africa, and Africa has 54 recognised countries and other provinces and states, but this little adventure has brought me to the northwest of Africa, to a place where the people are so wonderful and smiling and kind and willing to help, and I'm hoping to see some amazing Roman artifacts, some architecture, and where once upon a time, how can I say this, that innovation kicked in and how people used to live here in Tunisia to avoid the heat and the cold of the desert. So I think we should let this little adventure begin, and I'm going to show you around Tunisia. So everything is so spread out from where I am. I'm actually in the north, in Sousse, S-O-U-S-S-E, and we're going to be heading south, and to get there is a train to Sfax, but by the time you left Sousse to get to Sfax and get back, you'd only have about 2 hours there, or there's no other way back. So I thought what we'd do is we'd hire a car, and cash is king here in Tunisia. They wouldn't even let me use my card to actually pay for the car. There was no other checks. They checked my passport and my driving license, and they said, oh, we'll give you a Volkswagen Polo. So I was like, brilliant, sounds great, nice little car. And I've rocked up and they've given me my car, and I've decided to name him Wolverine because he looks like he has been through many wars and still has survived. So I give you Wolverine, which is not a Volkswagen Polo. Tomorrow I'm hoping to go on a little adventure and to get there and back from where we are. In total it's just under 800 kilometers, and I'm just hoping that Wolverine has it in him. Let's go explore. After roughly maybe 45 minutes driving from Sousse to El Jem, we arrived here. We have a lovely mosque, there's a call to prayer, and next to it is the old amphitheater. In my head I imagined it to be like a city centre, but it's actually placed right in the middle of real life. It isn't westernized in any way. There's no branded stores that you'd see anywhere else in the world. This is real life. And when it came to parking, and driving, you just kind of take your own life into your hands. As you can see, I think you just can park anywhere, but in a few hours time we'll see if Wolverine is still there or if we have to go and get him out of the pound. This is the third largest amphitheater. So you have El Jem, number 3, and then you have number 2, which you have in Rome, and then you have the Capua, which is also in Italy. Forgive me if I've spelt that wrong, but as we now enter, the ticket booth is just behind me here. I think we are the only tourists here, so I think we're going to get to explore it all on our own. Hopefully, let's go on inside. So it is roughly around 1,800 years old, which doesn't sound that old, but this is what I love, things like this. Okay, so it's all built by sandstone. It was all done by hand because it was way back then. And if you look at this here, you can see even where the stone has worn away over years, all the shells and little crustaceans here, and there's more along here and here. Over time the sandstone's worn out and you've got all of them. To think these were dug out and all of these shells are thousands of years old. I just love history and seeing things like this. 1,800 years old. So we've all seen the film Gladiator with Russell Crowe. Well, actually, some parts of that film were filmed here at this location in El Jem. You remember when Russell Crowe was that big, beautiful, handsome gladiator, and well, now he looks like he's, well, blown up like a frog. I did hear that you could actually go down into the tunnels, because just below here, this, I know you can't see, but underneath here, this is where all the gladiators and the animals, they're all waiting to come through the tunnels, and this is the main arena where they would all actually fight. Both humans and animals were used here for fighting, and it was sometimes for fun, for nothing else, which I guess it was most of the time. But there's also very wealthy people, they paid to come and fight here as well, just to prove their strength, which I think is kind of crazy, because what if the gladiator was stronger than you and you were trying to prove a point and lost? That doesn't make sense to me.
وسلم عليه في كل وقت وحين اللهم صل وسلم عليه في العالمين إلى يوم الدين اللهم صل وسلم عليه عدد ما ذكره الذاكرون وغفل عن ذكره الغافلون اللهم صل وسلم عدد ما صلي عليه وعدد من لم
So some facts with regards to the size of this place. So the main fighting arena along here is 65 meters long. It's just under 45 meters across, and once upon a time all the seats here could sit up to 35,000 people. And I've just learned this really cool fact, and I'm going to show you right now. So this little bit here, as I showed you that they all came along on the grid. So this bit here, that was actually an element of surprise where they had strings and ropes, and they would actually rise up a platform as an element of surprise to bring in perhaps a lion or an elephant, as these were used here. Lions, elephants were shipped here for fun, for people to watch fight and also to kill. This kind of reminds me of something like, I don't know, 35,000 people. The sound would be amazing, and out would pop Cher live. So the El Jem amphitheater, it doesn't look it, looks a lot bigger, but it actually 118 feet high it stands at, and then 486 feet length, and then on the outside, from outside to outside, is an incredible 400 feet also. And then I just keep imagining, my head just runs away with myself. I can feel the vibrations of everyone cheering. And then if we just look over this way now, you would have had the emperors who were over there. They were all standing going like yes or no, and everyone's cheering. The lions are roaring and Cher singing live in the background. And I really let my mind just run away with me. And unfortunately, there are tunnels down there, but I think they're actually locked off to the public right now. If I could get down there, you know I would, because you know I'd love to have a good old mooch around. So as we pan round here to the left, you can actually get a better scale of how big it is. So there is the outside wall, what was, and then this was an entranceway. What I'd give for some of those pillars to be in my garden. So then it makes it more sense when you think 400 feet from there right across, and also on the outside. Smiling and smiling and smiling. I know I moan at some things, but things like when people put all their chalk and I get it, probably people who are young, but then when you move down here, you can probably see why it frustrates me, because here is the old original artwork, man, and then these lines, this here, the giraffe, the carvings in the stone all here. It's a shame that it isn't protected so people don't destroy it and deface it. But to actually see it here, it's lovely. I wish I knew what all these are. You see the head, the body, the legs and the arms. The way these arms are, I'm thinking, is that a turtle or a tortoise? But they do have tortoises here. I really would love to tell you a story about last time I was in Tunisia in 1999 about tortoises, but I best not, because I'll probably get into a lot of trouble.
اللهم صل وسلم عليه عدد ما ذكره الذاكرون وغفل عن ذكره الغافلون اللهم صل وسلم عدد ما صلي عليه وعدد من لم يصلي عليه.
So going back to what I was saying earlier, when we arrived, I imagined it to be in a really big built-up city. I'm actually on like the 3rd level up now, and it literally is just outside. Okay, this is a city, but I think most of us, when we think of cities, we think of big buildings, lots of open spaces, lots of big roads, but this is the view from where El Jem is. I don't know how they would get tourist bus here. There must be like mini buses or something, because the roads are very thin. No one seems to use the pavements, which are in a good standard, but everyone likes to walk on the road and the mopeds. And I was driving around a roundabout earlier, and I was going the correct way before you say I wasn't. Before you'll start typing in, me. I was going the right way, and a car was coming right towards us. It's kind of like when you drive here, you just care for yourself, like just think about what you're doing, everyone else will get out the way. And that's kind of like in Italy as well. The roads here, once you get out of Sousse where we were, they became very quiet. The toll road, and the toll road that we came on thinking it would be expensive, cash is king, they wouldn't take my card, but when I found out how much it was, I didn't need it. So it was 1 dinar 12, so it's about 4 dinars is £1, so it cost roughly 25 pence to come on the toll road to get here from Sousse. As we were saying about the roads, you see, this is the city. This is like actually is a main road here, and there was little various parking places. We parked just around the corner, just around here. I don't think there's any sort of ticketing system or any parking restrictions, as it's just a help yourself. And the little, I was going to say kangaroo. It's not a kangaroo. What is it? It's a camel. Tired. So the kangaroo camel there, you can have your photograph taken with it for 25 pence, or you can have a little ride and a little trot around here, but I don't know how much it is. I think it's a main road, and I personally think it's a little bit scary for him, but he's probably used to it. He's probably grown up with it. Maybe that's just my way of thinking. And amen, there's a bank, because cash is king. I've came up more and more stairs, and I just keep thinking, oh, I'm at the top. And then you walk around a bit more, and we keep going higher and higher and higher, and right down there now is the ground. And from when you are down there, it doesn't look or feel that big, but now I'm finding all these little staircases everywhere. This place is big. And another one. I must be nearly at the top. Let's do this last bit together. Oh. Whew. Everything's burning. My legs, my arms, my bum. Ah. Wow. This is the top. Wow, what a view. Amazing. Here you are, guys. I can't actually remember if I told you because I've been running around like an overactive, overexcited school child. But entrance to get in, it's 12 dinars for an adult or 8 dinars for a child. So the exchange rate to the pounds right now, it's 3.93 something. So it's just easy to round it to 4. So it was like £3 for an adult, and then it's £2 for a child to get in. Like I said, there's no brochures or magazines or anything like that. So you have to, if you don't know anything about history or don't like history or you're not a historian, then you can do a lot of Googling. It's quite easy to find interesting facts about Romans and things like that. But you can see I'm smiling from ear to ear. I love places like this because I could, just my imagination, it just see it all and imagine it all. Like, if I could have a time machine for one day, I don't think I'd go to the future to win the lottery because I've already done that. I would go back into, look at me flexing. I'd go back in time to history. Don't know whether I'd go to like dinosaurs or the Roman era and see all the hot gladiators, or maybe to yesterday. I don't know. Who knows? Write in the comments where you go back in history too. Don't know why I was whittling on then. Go in the outtakes. On the ground level, these are all around everywhere. There was no pun intended. These actually, like these dome-shaped things that we'll walk into. Now, use your imagination again. So, these domes are where they would keep, say, a lion or a wild beast, which would have a cage or a gate all around here. So then this gate would then open, and then the beast or the gladiator or the lion, whichever it may be, would come running out and then make its way in to the main arena where the fights would then begin. So you'll probably see these in many amphitheaters or Roman buildings, probably where you go in the world. But all of these triangles, at first I was thinking, is it because they once upon a time they made like scaffolding and put scaffolding up into them, and because they were going right up, you could see them all the way up. You can't in the video, sorry. And then I started thinking more about it, thinking, how did the stones get put into place? So they're on every single stone, but on either side, but not all the way around. And so if you imagine, if this stone is being lifted from the ground, okay, imagine a clamp would come above it, clamp round, and then lift the stone and place it in, and then they would release the clamp. For every stone they used clamps like this to raise them from the ground upwards slower and slower. Incredible piece of engineering for you think back when, for nearly 2,000 years ago, that's when they were using equipment like that to build things like this. Incredible. So we've had a good look around the amphitheater, and now we're going to get into the car and head over towards the coast. Don't get me wrong, we are quite close to the coast in comparison to a map, but we're now heading further north, or back up north a little bit, and to the coast, and we're going to take a look around the wonderful harbour of Mostir, or maybe the mosques there, or maybe the souks there. Let's get back in the car, get back on the road and see what we find there.